What's up? Welcome to Let's Talk About It. I'm excited to hang out with you guys today. I want to thank all of those who've supported what we're doing here with Let's Talk About It by being partners with Andre Butler Ministries, those who've given by Cashapp and PayPal. You are making a difference. People's lives are being changed. I'm hearing more and more about the impact that these podcasts are having. And if you haven't caught one of the previous ones, man, check out my YouTube channel. You're going to find there's a lot of great content there that can help you with wherever you are in your life, with wherever you are in the journey that you're on, and particularly in chasing the dream that God's put in your heart. Today, I've got somebody with me that I have known for a very long time. We are really good friends. We've been good friends for almost 30 years. I mean, I feel old saying that, but he's somebody that has a story to tell. And today I really want us to kind of dive into that story and address the issue of church hurt. And so first of all, let me welcome, man. What's up, Genaro?
What's up, man? What's going on?
Good to have you with us.
You too, always, man. Always.
Yeah. And so, obviously, some of my audience doesn't know your story that much. You mind telling us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, man. You already know it's actually, let me start where we met. I used to go to Word of Faith as a kid. My dad is a pastor, but I started going to Word of Faith when I was a kid. But I've been in church all my life. My dad came from Solomon's Temple, Bishop Bonner. Was in the streets for a little bit, you know what I mean? And then I went to college trying to get it together, still in the streets a little bit. And then I found God again. You find God about 2 or 3 times. And then it's funny because that's when, like, I would see you in church, but that's when me and you really connected because you had the G5G. And I had my Bible study at the time. And then from there, it was like I was just went hard in the faith. And I don't know how this happened, but I ended up getting involved with music. I mean, I've been in music all my life, but I started doing gospel rap, turned into
Simon Peter.
Simon Peter.
That's right.
Simon Peter the Eagle. And you and your family had a major influence on that. I remember Pastor Gregory coaching me through that. You got to make sure you do this. And I remember your dad make sure you got the word in your rap. So just coaching me through the whole thing. And then years went past. I got older. I ended up believe it or not, I mean, you already know this, but I ended up being on tour with Fred Hammond, which was a dream back then, to be Fred Hammond's rapper. It's funny because I was just talking to him and I texted him. I asked him I seen him. He had a hat on one of his concerts. I'm like, bro, I need that hat because I'm the first gospel rapper in Radical for Christ. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, you gotta. He's like, all right. So I ended up going on tour with Fred. Me and Fred, we had our differences or whatever, but that's my guy. And I ended up hooking up with Marvin Winans Jr., M2 Entertainment, with your family, Kai and Candace. Oh my God, that was such a crazy. I think we was before our time. And that's when, how can I say it? I mean, I went through so much, and I had it early going through the professional music industry at such an early age.
Yeah.
And then something happened, a few more times, and I ended up leaving the church, and then I started going secular, and then I ended up back in the streets. And when I say the streets, I mean just dealing with street people. I started producing. Though I wasn't more of a rapper, I was more like a producer because that's what I really wanted to do. Believe it or not, I don't know if you ever knew that, but production. Tommy Walker taught me how to produce. That was Fred Hammond's main producer. And rapping was cool, but when I learned how to produce, it was like I fell in love. I'm like, this is it. This is it, right?
As your wife.
Yeah, my wife, exactly. I was just listening to that in the car. And it was like, because I used to play the cello, it's funny because I used to play the cello at Word of Faith. I was in the Word of Faith orchestra in high school. So everybody that hired me was a drug dealer. I was getting paid by drug dealers. So I have mixed feelings about drug dealers because they paid my bills for a long time. So, when you around all that, you are influenced by that, of course. But I think for me, where the twist is, so we can stay on point, the church hurt was I was hurt about a lot of stuff. Things that happened at Word of Faith, things that happened at with Fred, you know, and I want to say this too, man. You know, when I say these things, everybody that I like had a problem with, we cool now. So I feel comfortable talking about it. I talk to everybody, all the main people I had a problem with, we cool now, man. It's hilarious. Like we look back, it's funny because I was talking to Jay Moss. You know, familiar with Jay Moss. I went up to his church visit or whatever. Every now and then we contact each other. That's my guy, you know. But I remember he put it in perspective for me because I went up to his church and I'm like, bro, I need you to forgive me, you know, for some things. And he was like, you know, vice versa. I said, listen, man. He said, listen, man, we were kids.
Yeah.
And when I thought about it, I said, you know what?
Yeah.
We were kids.
Yeah.
Like, how did we know? You know, I was 19, 20, 21. So when I was mad, like at Word of Faith, when I was mad at Fred, when I was mad at everybody or whatever, you know, it was like, you know, you were as a kid.
Yeah.
And they were young too. And
Yeah.
we were young.
Yeah.
So we didn't know no better. We
Right.
don't know, you know what I mean?
Right.
So, you know, now I can look back on it and I can talk about it. So when I say things, I want everybody to know it's the past.
Yeah.
It's not, you know, nothing that I hold now. So, but, you know, I was hurt, man. It was some things promised to me, you know, in the music industry that didn't come into fruition. And when you're young and you're looking up the gospel artists and they promising you all this stuff.
Right. And then don't happen.
And it don't happen. You're like, well, wait a minute, what? But I thought we was doing this for God. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that kind of, you know, steered me away. And then it was funny because I think a lot of people don't, in the church, let me say that, don't understand the perspective of the hip hop generation's perspective about church hurt. When I was Simon Peter, man, and I was doing gospel rap, a lot of barriers was getting broken at the time, and I didn't even know it because the church didn't accept us.
Right.
They didn't want us in their church. Yeah, I mean, even you know, I always looked at your dad like one of my dads. Even I would come to your house, and I used to beg, like, Bishop, like, one day maybe I can rap at the church. And he like, well, we'll talk about it. Yeah, because he was, you know, because that wasn't, and I wasn't mad at him. I was just like, I get it.
Yeah.
And believe it or not, when I did rap at the church, Pastor Gregory pulled some strings, and it was for the youth. Bro, that was like epic back. You already know it was like oh my God. I remember I had on this white suit. I thought I was the man. and it was like, you know, but when I got outside of Word of Faith, because Word of Faith was always my family, the church, other churches, they didn't want me around either. It was like, nah, bro, you know, they'll let other people that they know that wasn't living right sing, you know, and we ain't gonna go there, but we could. But then, like, the gospel rappers, oh, we don't want that in the, you know.
Yeah, they didn't understand at the time.
At the time. But then it was crazy because I would go to the church and then I would have, like, altar calls and, like, kids would just come up and they were so attracted to me.
Yeah.
It was crazy. And I'm like, don't y'all see? You know, so then when the pastor would see that, they'd be like, well, yeah, Simon P., why don't you come back? Oh, now you want me to come back. You know what I'm saying? It was crazy. So, you know, I think for me, it was like that hurt along with just people not understanding the hip hop culture at that time and understanding what we needed in order to preserve us in a church setting. And I think that's what I brought to the church in my area because I was a pioneer in a lot of stuff. And I'm saying this humbly, okay? But there was nobody at that time that had a street ministry like Simon Peter. I was on the street making a living. I was selling 100 records a day, CDs and tapes out my trunk, witnessing the people, drug addicts, dope dealers, pimps, prostitutes, you know what I'm saying? Bringing them to church. They would come to my concerts, you know what I mean? I mean, like, I would go up in the crack houses, you know what I mean? And between me and the people that was buying my music, the gospel rap, were worldly people. It wasn't even church people buying my stuff. I would go to a church event, I might sell 5 or 10 tapes or CDs. But then I would go out in the streets and I say, hey, I'm doing gospel rap. And like everybody would buy my stuff. I mean, of course you have people that say no, but I was able to make a living off that.
Right.
And I don't think people in the church at that time, because of tradition, understood, once again, how to preserve that group of people, not knowing that these group of people are the future. Because look at hip hop now, it's ridiculous.
Right. Yeah, even in the church. Because I remember when we came up, you couldn't find any like good
gospel
gospel
rappers.
rap.
Yeah, everybody was corny, like,
yeah, everybody was
hey,
corny.
yo,
Yeah, I still remember.
hey, yeah,
I
right.
mean, even before that, Stephen Wiley being rated highly,
Yeah,
all that stuff.
right.
I remember that. It wasn't that many, so but now you got this explosion of it. But yeah,
It's crazy now. The music period, I should say the hip hop world period right now. If you really look at it, is like growth financially. Like you got rappers that's like billionaires. That's like crazy. You know
yeah,
what I mean?
yeah,
So I don't think that the pastors and the deacons and the bishops really understood like what was taking place. We understood what was taking place because we was watching it and we was entrenched in it
and living in it. Yeah,
and we was living in it.
yeah,
But they didn't understand. I'm like, listen, you gotta do this. It's
yeah,
not a, you know
yeah,
what I mean? They
yeah.
like, you know what I mean? They're like, oh, we're not gonna do that, brother. That's not, you know. I'm like, okay. So between that
Yeah.
and normal people being people,
Yep.
you know, I like, you know, like what your sister was saying. I was watching the episode of Michelle. Like, people are gonna be people.
Yep.
And between that, people being people, you being shunned away like that, me with all these broken promises and we just gonna be real, you know, me watching people not living the way they supposed to be living that was high up. You gotta remember I was around some high up people. I was just like, why am I here? Like, why am I living right? What am I, you know, you get to a point to where you're like, why am I even doing this? Don't nobody like me. You know what I mean? I had a few friends, you know what I mean? But for the most part, nobody understands me. And what really, when I could tell you the day I decided to like walk away from the church, that was, I kid you not, man, 9/11 that happened. Jay-Z album had came out. Blueprint. You know what I mean? And anybody that know hip hop know that was like, it was like when the Blueprint Jay-Z came out with them beats and Kanye West beats and the way he was rapping, he was getting that Nas, and just the way he came, he like set such a precedence for hip hop at that time. He had the rock chain on. I was like, you know what? Why am I doing this? So I had just got back from the Stellar Awards. I want to say I either was on my way to Stellar Awards. I just got back when I was with Vicky Winans. When 9/11 happened, I was at Vicky Winans' house, and we was recording, and we was watching it on TV. Me and Coconut, you know, Marvin Winans Jr. Everybody, you know, Coconut, and I remember recording, and I had thought about like I had spent all this time with Fred Hammond, you know, I spent all this time with the Winans, got cool with them. But I wasn't seeing no money besides the money I was making on the street. Like me selling my own stuff and me going to churches and me creating my own gigs. And so a lot of, and then people don't make, I mean, maybe it's good we talking about this because I don't even know if you knew this, but at the time, man, I had like a lot of drug dealers coming at me like, bro, you need to just come on over here. Like, bro, we got the money. We got, you know what I mean? I was married. You know, I had a beautiful wife, my son's mother, you know what I mean? We still get along, you know what I'm saying? She was in church. I met her at my dad's church because my dad is a pastor. Shout out to my dad because he the one, my dad and your dad is the reason why I am who I am. And that's just real, all right? And when you got people pulling up in like Mercedes and, you know, and they hollering at me like, you know, yo, you need to, you know, I'm like, you know what? I'm about to make this turn. So I remember rapping at my last church. It was on the east side of Detroit. I had just left. Me and Coke had fell out over some paperwork. And I was like, you know what? I'm about to work on my solo album. And I remember, well, let me start here. So I remember having a listening party for my second album, Simon Peter, Art of War. Mike Winans sung on there. It was tight. It was like I was, you know, and I was doing some reading and, you know, about spirituality and all this. But basically every book they told me not to read. I was like, you know, I'm about to read these books. And so I started reading and like I said, simultaneously I got all these, you know, dope cats coming at me like, bro, I sign you right now. You know, I give you a couple bands right now. Because we need to do the gospel rap thing over here. You need to produce. So I said, you know what? I'm about to do this. And I remember 9/11 happened. Jay-Z album came out. I remember listening to Jay-Z album, like, man, I can do all the beats on there. Like I was like, I can do all this. Like, this is crazy. Tommy had taught me how to do. I know how, you know what I'm saying? And I knew how talented I was. So I felt like, why am I dealing with this over here?
Yeah.
Because I'm not feeling like God is with me right now. Because everything I try to do for God, it was just failing. a lot of it was a lack of knowledge, though.
Yeah.
You know, because I was young. I didn't know. Like, if
that's how Satan works. He tries to get you to give up, to bail out, like right before your breakthrough, right? That's something that you see. I've been through that. You see it in the Bible. You remember with David, how he had his big blow up with Ziklag when he came back to their city, and everybody was gone. Their women were taken, their children were taken. His men were about to stone him, and he's like tore up. But then he got to God, and 3 days later he was king. So that last thing is the thing. But so you had I remember you went to ministry school and everything.
Ministry school, man, it's so much.
You had a message, you had an anointing, you had favor. You were in a spot, and then people was not acting right, and then you had the temptation coming your way. And man, I get it.
Yeah, it was real, and it's crazy too, because I went to school of ministry at Word of Faith, and you know what's so funny? When I remember being at Word of Faith, and school of ministry, and I remember that was like the epitome of when I knew like God had favor on my life, because I don't know if you know it, but Carl Reed was in my classroom commission.
I remember.
I just had a breakfast with him. That's my guy.
And I love Carl.
Yeah, man, Carl cool, man. He's so funny. Him and Mitch, man, both of them. I got to put Mitch in there. Mitch, that's my guy, man. But Carl told me to go up there. He's like, go mess with Fred, man. I'm like, man, I ain't about to go up there. He was like, dude, go tell Fred I said for you to come up there. Because I was scared of Fred. Like, I ain't about to just pop up.
Yeah, he was the man. He's still the man, but he was back then. He was like,
I knew I had favor on my life because I was meeting too many people. I'm like, this is meant to,
God's opening doors.
Yeah, this is, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I think, to put things in perspective, I think it was the lack of leadership, because getting back to what I said earlier, I was a pioneer, bro. There was no gospel rapper trying to break through. Who did I have to look up to?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, if I'm trying to be a preacher, I could have looked up to my dad. I could have looked up to your dad.
Right.
So I had nobody, at that time to look up to but gospel singers. So I think it was a lack of just them not knowing, like, what we gonna do with this gospel rapper? This dude, he hood, because I really was. In my opinion, I wasn't that hood. But to them, to some singers, hood. You know what I'm saying? Like, I ain't that hood. So, I think a mixture of all that just made me lead a church, man. And I'm gonna say this too. To let you know the severity behind like everything, because honestly, man, it's my first time really talking about it. Like, you know what I'm saying? When you mad and you a rapper and you got like, you hood, it ain't like being mad at somebody, another church person being at another. I want to like punch some people in the face. You feel me? Like we rap beef, cuz. Like, you know what I'm saying? So it was like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I've said bad things about, Word of Faith. I've said bad things about your dad. I'm just being real. I said bad things about Fred. I mean, over the years, like, man, you already know. I mean, I ain't about to cuss on here, but I would go in. And it was because, honestly, I was hurt, bro, because I trusted everybody.
Yeah.
But then, after the years went past, and you get older, and you go through some things, well, for me, over the years, I realized that some of the stuff I went through, I got out of because of what I learned from your dad. I got out of because of what I learned from the Winans.
Yeah.
I got out of because of the stuff I learned from Fred.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And I'm like, when you on the move like me all the time, because since you've been knowing me, I'm all about my hustle.
Right.
I'm a hustler.
Right.
You know what I mean? And you stop one day, whether it be something make you stop, whether you get sick or you getting, you got to sit down for a minute or, whatever. I've been locked up, you know what I'm saying? Thank God I ain't got nothing on my record. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that's the grace of God. Though. I done did some things, bro. I done been in, pistols. I done got caught with pistols, man. I don't think people, that's why, man, I couldn't really get with a lot of church people, man, because it was like, y'all just don't get it.
Yeah,
like,
you don't know. Yeah.
Nah, you don't understand how it is to, you know, be in a high-speed chase with the police. Like, I know that's real. I did that.
Yeah.
How it is to get locked up. Police slam your face up against the ground. Double barrel shotgun in your face. If you move, I'm going to blow it off like this. You don't know how it is.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I didn't pull pistols out on cops. You know what I'm saying? You don't you don't know.
Right.
Like you understand it. So it's like for you to do this to me, it's like you have no idea.
Right.
Like, you know what I'm saying? So, you know, beef with me was beef. Whether
Yeah.
you was beefing or not with me, we
Yeah.
beefing.
Yeah.
Because that's the hip hop culture. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? But then when you get older and your life start to settle and you start to realize some things
Mm-hmm.
and you go back
Mm-hmm.
and you get in your 30s
Mm-hmm.
and then you get in your 40s and you're like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Am I still mad? Excuse me. Am I still mad at what, like, what am I mad at?
Right. Yeah.
Like, what am I really doing?
So is that how God got you back? Because what was that process like for you?
That's a good question. I went down a path, man, where I was studying a lot of stuff about spirituality,
Mm-hmm.
you know,
I remember.
Africanism,
Yep.
you know, like to the point to where, man, I was like teaching against God, teaching against Jesus.
We
Teaching
had some
against...
conversations.
Yeah, we had some conversations, you know, and it's funny, man. And I'm gonna say this to I gotta say this, man, to your audience. Y'all have no idea who y'all pastor is, Andre Butler, because let me tell you something. I watched this man be my friend through all this, not judge me, you know, and I appreciate you for that. As a real brother, you know what I'm saying? You when I called, you answered, you know. No matter how mad I was about anybody or anything, you was like, nah, that's my guy.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, man, I've watched you live a holy life, and I've watched you maintain attempting to be the holiest man you can be.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of pastors, bro, can't say that.
Mm.
So for all you people that go to Faith to FX, including myself, because I just joined, just know y'all got a man of God right here, and I'm saying this for sure, for sure. You know, what for me, man, when I started studying all this stuff about God and, you know, Africanism, I was part of the Pan-African movement. I was with the Nation of Islam for a minute. I really got off into the Pan-African thing, bro. I was like really, you know, Egypt, and, you know what I'm saying? Which I still like some of that stuff, but now I put it in perspective.
Right.
You know, it was crazy because everything was based on color, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Black, white people, the devil.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
you black. You know, it's white man religion. I'm like, that's and then like after a while, when I start really getting deep into it,
Mm-hmm.
and I start researching, I'm like, well, the research that y'all following, a white man wrote that too. So you know what I'm saying? So how you gonna say the Bible is that?
Right.
And then I'm reading this, and it's the white man that found the pyramid, and I'm like, that's stupid.
I didn't even notice that.
Yeah, like if you, I'm telling you, I'm like y'all sound stupid. So like we'd go to these lectures, right, and they'd pull these books out, and the people that wrote the books was European, and I'm like, well, I thought you said the white man the devil. Like, how'd you eat the devil? But then you put it was just like, come on, man. Like, you know what I mean? So then, you know, fast forward, and believe it or not, you know what's so crazy is, you know, my fiance is white.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Me and her started kicking it. I wasn't telling nobody at first. I'm like, I'm about to tell them I want a white girl. You know what I'm saying? And she like brought a whole different perspective, and she didn't even come from church. She was just, there's nothing church, I will honestly say, hopefully we get her in one day, but there's nothing church about her. But I seen how such a genuine person she was. It was crazy. Like, she had my back at my lowest point. So it was a mixture of like that, along with me like not being where I wanted to be in life. And I'm gonna tell you who like really made me, and I think it really started happening when I left the music game. And I'm gonna tell you who put the nail in the casket for me in the music game, because I just quit. It wasn't that I wasn't talented, and everybody know that. I don't know if you knew this, but I was cool with Denise Matthews' Vanity. I don't know if I told you.
Yeah, we talked about it briefly. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so-
I remember this. Yeah.
So I met her, and me and her got cool. And she told me straight up, like, right, I had just dropped a mixtape, and it had like everybody on there, like all the main Detroit rappers. I produced that. I was geeked up like, this shit right here. And she said, Genaro, you don't want to be in the industry. She said, you talented. She said, it's the reason why I left. She said, I don't accept nothing from the industry. I don't know if a lot of people don't know that. God rest her soul. So it was like, then I started thinking, like, once again, like, what am I doing? And I got with my girl. I'm like, well, you know, I got to leave the blackness alone. Like the blackness guy, they start not messing with me because I'm dating a white girl. I'm like, well, let me leave that alone.
Right.
So then, man, then this happened, and I'm like, well, let me leave that alone. Dog, I ended up on an island by myself where it was just me and God. And I got older. I was getting older. You know, I'm 40 now. You know, 40-something years old. And God like, yo, what you doing?
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
You know?
Yep.
Now, I let you do everything you want to do.
Yep.
You see how that worked out for you, don't you?
Yep.
And I remember I was driving one morning because I was working, and it was ice outside. And I was on the grind trying to get some paper, just on the grind, hustle over here, doing this. And this is recent. We fast forwarding like close. And I remember my car started spinning. And I stopped the car, and I was in the middle of the road, and I seen cars coming. And it was like a voice came to me like, listen to what you listening to right now, and look at where you at. And I was listening to some, garbage. I still listen to hip hop when I work out, but I'm just saying at that time I was like 24/7. And dude, I don't know, it was just like an epiphany. And I was like, you know what? This ain't me. Like this ain't me.
Yeah.
This ain't me. And I said, and I just prayed, bro. I got my car out the street and I prayed. And I was just like, Lord, listen. Because when I pray, I keep it real. I don't pray like everybody else. I pray like, look, dog, you tripping. Like, my life messed up, dude. You thought, you know what I'm saying? You supposed to have my back.
Right.
So I pray, I said, listen, man. And I told God, like, straight up, I'm about to give you one more chance, dude. I was like, if you fail me again, I'm going to leave you alone. My mom be telling me I be wrestling with God. Like, who's wrestling with God? Was it Jacob? Who was wrestling with God? He's like, you like to wrestle with God? Yeah, I wrestle with him. Like, nah, I talk to him like it. But it's crazy because I remember looking back when I prayed, and God was like, I've been with you the whole time. Remember that time this happened? You could have got killed? That was me. Remember you got locked up? Ain't nothing was on your record? Yeah, that was me. Because when you think about it, every time I got in trouble, out of all the gods I've ever studied, you know what the first thing that come out my mouth? Jesus. That's the first thing that come out my mouth. It's like an instinct.
Yep.
It's like you could pretend like,
Right.
you know what I'm saying, that you something else, or you
Right.
could see it.
But in that moment.
And I done had some moments, it was like, Jesus. And you know what? When I did that, it worked. Now, you go back to doing your foolishness,
Right.
but when you sit down and you think about it,
Yeah.
and you have those moments, you're like, you know what? And I remember just realizing, bro, you know what? I'm a church dude. I'm a church dude. That's, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Everybody got their own.
Yeah.
But for me to be unique in who I am, I'm a church guy. I'm a word guy. I like the word. I like that book has led me out of situations.
Right.
It wasn't no other gods.
Right.
It wasn't the stuff I studied. It wasn't the stuff I taught. It's
Right.
not none of the rappers I looked up to at that time back in the day. It wasn't none of my friends. Bro, you know who got me out of that? God.
Right.
When you sitting in the cell by yourself and you like, Lord, you got to get me out of here. And then you hear the police be like, cell so-and-so, hey, man, come on. You out. And I'm like, I am? You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Like, I've had moments like that. You know what I'm saying? Where, like, I didn't miss parties, though. I remember this one party I was about to go to. It was, at the time, the rapper, he was real famous in Detroit. And he was right before he blew up. And I had, me and him was doing some business together. He was like, come on, man, you got to go to this party. You know what I'm saying? And the party got shot up. And God was like, yeah, see, I got you. It's been times I've been in the studio producing. So-and-so got raided. I'm like, I was just there. Like, how did this,
Yeah. God protected you.
God protected you. You know what I'm saying? Hey, man, we about to introduce you to Big Meech. Okay. Let me know. We're going to pack your bags, Florida. CNN, Big Meech raided. Oh. How'd that happen?
Mm-hmm.
Could have been. You could have been.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? It's too many could have beens.
Yep.
Could have
Yeah,
been.
you
Could have
got,
been.
you got a plan for your life. So
Yeah.
so you made decision to come home, but you still had all that hurt to deal with. How did God heal that? I mean, I know we talked a little bit about the process you went through, but because how did he deal with that?
That's a good question, bro. And it's crazy, man, because I'm gonna say this to you, and that's why I love you, man. You the first person. And let me say this, man, before I forget. So to sum it all up, man, it was forgiveness.
Mm-hmm.
And
That's good.
it was forgiveness.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna say this. It's crazy because it was the way. Because I never like to lie on God. I always like to say, I believe God said, I believe God was telling me, I was praying. He said, listen, man, the first thing you need to do is go to everybody you mad at.
Mm-hmm.
And you need to tell them, how you feel. But this is how I want you to do it. Here was the key. And I think a lot of people don't get this. And maybe God was like, I want you to do it a certain way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Don't go, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, don't go to them saying, I forgive you. Say, what have I done to you to hurt you?
Mm-hmm.
Even though you the hurt one. And I think if people grab a hold of that, their life will be so much better.
Yeah.
If you look, I need you to look at yourself first.
Yeah.
So everybody I went to, I remember the first person he had me go to, the second person he had me go to, the third person he had me go to. And I'm talking about some people, bro. Fred Hammond, Jay Moss, you, my ex, my ex in college that, me and her had fell out real bad. Like, we, you know what I'm saying? Coconut, Marvin Winans Jr., I hit up Mike, I was on a rampage. I was like, I'm calling everybody, you know what I'm saying? And at Vicky Winans, I remember her telling me, she said, and I love Vicky Winans, man.
I love her too.
Yeah, Vicky, man, I love Vicky, man. She said, what you're doing is a gift. And I didn't understand when she said that. She said, how many people you know can go to people and say, what have I done?
Yeah.
Even though you feel hurt.
Yeah.
What have I done to you?
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Yep.
And so when God put that on my heart to do that, at first I didn't understand. I'm like, man, I ain't about to do that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But then he's like, nah, if you're hurt, you did something to them too. You know what I mean?
Yep.
You did something to them too.
Yep.
So you need to fix that, and you need to look at yourself in the mirror first.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people, even in church, don't want to look themselves in the mirror and be like, what did I do?
Mm-hmm.
This person mad at me. Okay, what did I do for them to feel the way they feel? Because like I tell everybody all the time, if you want people to say nice things about you, well, maybe you should give people a better experience when you in their presence.
That's good.
You
A lot of people don't get that.
They don't get that.
It's called accountability.
You feel me?
It's called accountability.
If you want people to say good stuff about you, then maybe you need to change their experience.
Want them to feel a certain way, yeah.
That's
real.
That's real.
So when you started doing that and it restored relationships, but also kind of healed your heart.
Well, I ain't gonna say kind of. I did heal my heart because that was the broken piece. That piece was so big. It was like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you hit it right on the nose. So during that process, I started realizing, dude, I start feeling better. Like I start feeling like, I'm like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was crazy. I'm like, even the people, because I'm gonna keep it real with y'all. Some of the people, we don't like talk on a daily all the time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We had a conversation, we done.
Yeah.
But the way I feel now, I'm like, yo, you know what I mean? Like this is, and that feeling let me know that God was with me.
Yep.
And that's when I was like, you know what? And I ain't perfect, man. You know, I got stuff I got to work on. You know what I mean?
We all do.
That. Yeah, I got stuff I got to work on. But this time, I think now that I'm like, I consider I'm back home, I have to make sure that I'm real with myself and be who I am, you know what I mean? And be who God called me to be. It's crazy because it's a scripture in the Bible, and of course you know, that says if you can't forgive your brother for his all, then how can you expect God to forgive you?
Yep.
And I think the church, man, totally like go past that scripture like it ain't nothing. I'm just keeping it real.
No, it's real. That's very real.
You know what I mean?
Very
we don't understand the weight behind it.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, I mean, I ain't trying to get deep, but can I say this?
No, go for it.
So you know me, man. I always love the tabernacle. So you got the outer court, you got the inner court, you got the Holy of Holies. The first thing that, first of all, when you go there, is the you got the brazen altar, you got the brazen laver. So, but you got to sacrifice before you even enter into the holy place in the Holy of Holies. And people don't want to sacrifice how they feel.
Yep.
You understand what I'm saying?
You preaching.
I'm just, it is. You know what I'm saying?
But that's it. That's relationships. That's
everything.
You know, all of it. That's true. You gotta sow a seed to get a harvest, and people just want a harvest.
Yep.
And it, and whether it's friendships or going to church or marriage or whatever.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying. Sometimes we sacrifice stuff like our ego, our pride, and asking somebody, like I said, to forgive me. We make it like it's so easy. It's not easy to do that. But if you can do that, then you can go into the holy place in the Holy of Holies, because when I genuinely did that, that's when
things took off.
Start taking off for me. Yeah.
Well, one of the things I love about your story is that, church hurt, a lot of times what people do is they take what people did to them and take it out on God. So like not going to church, you're not actually hurting anybody but yourself, but it's like almost it's like really kind of going against God. And you figured out seems like you figured out that this isn't God doing this. This is people. And, and God is the one that was able to kind of bring you back in the fold and lead you back. And then had you actually going to talk to people and make things right with them. And I think that's a key thing. I think people don't get, they got church hurt. And so they take it out on God. And the whole purpose of all that stuff happening, the whole purpose of people being people and, all these other attacks is to keep you from God. That's what Satan's doing. And you figured that out.
I figured it out, yeah.
Yeah, and you came back to God and I believe, man, I think God's really got some things planned for you. I know we are a little older.
Right.
But we're not that old.
Okay, got you.
You know what I'm saying? We still got decades.
Got you.
And I just think we're going to be sitting here 10, 20 years from now, and we're going to be talking about just amazing impact that you've had. I really do. And we've talked about some people that you look up to, and I just see you in the same vein. I'm just like, that's where you're going.
Got you.
I think because there's a part of spiritual development too that some people just never get to. There's a part of maturity. And so they just keep tripping over the same thing, and if it's church hurt or some other thing, and you've overcome that. So now Satan can't use that.
Got you.
And instead he can use you to help other folk. So I just think that there's things ahead of you that you probably even thought of yet.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah. So I'm excited about it.
It's funny you say that, man, because the church hurt thing, it's crazy, man, because I was thinking on the way here, because I remember you talking about the church hurt thing. People, how can I say this? People talk about the church hurt them, right? And I get that, but your favorite rapper ain't living the way you supposed to want him to live.
Right.
The person you looking up to on YouTube or whoever.
Right.
But then for some reason the church,
Yeah.
And I was one of them people. I'm like, well, but and I understand that, well, y'all supposed to, live up to a certain standard. That's true, but here's the thing. We got to be a creature that chew the straw and spit out the stick. And I think a lot of people don't know how to do that with church, because they expect church to be
perfect.
To be perfect.
Yeah.
And they
people
say,
to be perfect.
Yeah, see, that's why I don't go to church.
Yeah.
Well, I get that. That's why you don't go to church, but we are all hypocrites in a lot of ways. So for you to use that as a reason why you don't go to church,
Right.
I'm pretty sure if I pick apart everybody's lives, the ones that don't go to church,
it's you kind of lying to yourself.
You're lying to yourself.
You really are. It's not. You're mad at God.
Yeah.
That's what it is. You're mad at God, and so you're saying, well, they did this and they did that, and these people are hypocrites. But if you really get down to it, you mad at God, and that's why you don't want to go to church. And you're right. People, I saw a post today, and it's like, do we have restaurant hurt?
Oh, right.
Right? Do we have school hurt. It's the only place that we really decide, you know, I ain't never going back because somebody didn't do something right. It seems to be church, and that's why, because Satan's behind that.
Yeah,
He's trying to keep you from God. He wants church hurt, turn to church hate. He wants to run your life, and
that's true.
And you know, but you got past that. And
Yeah.
I'm excited about it, and so. But yeah, so thank you, man, for hanging out with us.
Anytime,
And,
anytime.
thank you guys for watching. My book, Church Hurt's, coming out this month. And so if you want to get deeper into that, we talk about everything from, you know, the bad things that have happened, how to deal with them. We talk about dealing with church hurt if you're a pastor, PK, all that kind of stuff. So you can definitely check that out on Amazon.com. Other than that, we'll see you next time. And know that God has a future for you.